Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh, Baha Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Baha Hashem, Baha Kadash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to your apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching His truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Middle Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That'd be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. I got some videos lined up about World War III and these nations fighting against each other for world dominance, resources, blah, blah, blah. But it's ultimately the Bible prophecy from Yahweh Shema Shah getting these nations together to fight and kill each other. Yeah. And then the Lord comes, Yahweh Shah comes and kill them at the end. But anyway, I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into the scripts my best ability, say whatever God say through spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Krahak, Dash, Lord willing be on me. Let's get it.
Brazil is becoming a battleground for rare earth minerals that are used in technology and renewable energy. They are a group of 17 chemical elements used in everything from smartphones to EVs. Despite the name, they are not especially rare. What is rare is finding reserves large enough to mine profitably, and processing them is also incredibly hard. China has nearly half of the world's reserves and dominates global processing. Brazil has the second largest reserves and is becoming increasingly attractive to investors as they seek alternatives to China after the country limited exports last year. I teamed up with local news organization Reporter Brazil to analyze every rare earth mining application filed with the Brazil's National Mining Agency. We wanted to know what are the companies leading this rush, where does investment comes from, and how could it affect protected areas and communities. Foreign-backed companies account for nearly half of the applications. Australia and the US leading mining requests, and the only commercial mine operating in Brazil is now owned by a US firm. At least 1/4 of the applications are within 10 kilometers or 6 miles of indigenous territories or protected areas. Companies say they won't mine in protected areas, but communities living nearby are already concerned of how mining could affect their way of life.
Yeah, well, anyway, these nations here raping the hell out of you Israelites that's dwelling in these countries, but all rich. They rich with resources. Now the people are rich. No, they're sitting on land of riches, but they're poor as hell. Yeah. That shit. And all these niggas doing is mining for resources or minerals to build weapons of mass destruction. But yeah, that's fine. They goddamn use it to kill themselves. And some are going to be using it on you Israelites. But anyway, let's get to this video. I just found this video. Just posted today. Some of these videos I got is like couple days old. This one here is brand new. It's Joe Clark or Joe Kent with they got from Redacted. And they talking about World War III just begun. And we have one chance to stop it.
Hundreds of choices go into making every pair of...
What the fuck, nigga? Start the damn video. I want to see all these punk ass ads.
Well, we are witnessing one of the most consequential geopolitical shifts since the Cold...
She must have broke her glasses because she ain't wearing them. When she got LASIK. Shit, I don't know.
War. Countries running, of course, away from the US dollar into the hands of the BRICS nations over the past several months. The conflict with Iran has evolved from airstrikes and proxy battles into an economic battlefield right now. So is that the future of this war? Iran is leveraging the Strait of Hormuz. We're getting conflicting messages from the Trump administration today on mines in the Strait of Hormuz. They're open. Hey, ships are free to go through there. By the way, who's going to be the first ship that raises its hands yeah, let me test that theory. All the mines are removed? Let's go and see. Let's see if we blow up on the way through there. The Trump administration appears to be pivoting, of course, away from military strikes, if you listen to reports from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, to sanctions and economic pressure for now. And then meanwhile, last night, the New York Times published this piece asking this question, and far be it for me to ever feature a New York Times piece on the show, but it does raise an interesting question. Has World War III already started? And for many of you watching the show, very often in the comments, you'll say, guys, World War III has already started. Like, that ship has already sailed. But what does it exactly look like? Where is all of this heading? Joining us now is Joe Kent, former director of the National Counterterrorism Center and retired U.S. Army Green Beret. And Joe, of course, has been at the center of the debate over America's Iran policy and the future of U.S. involvement in the Middle East, being really a clear-headed voice in all of this. Joe, welcome back to the show. Great to see you.
Great to be with you both. Thank you for having me.
Well, first on this New York Times question, I mean, I know it's like a 30,000-foot level question, but what do you make of this question? Are we already in World War III? And if so, maybe how is it different than the world wars that we're accustomed to watching on the History Channel?
I think it's pretty evident to you both and probably most of your viewers, because you're paying attention to this, that World War III has definitely began. It's in the early phases. I believe that we can still kind of rein this back with the proper leadership. I think there is still time to walk this back before things are just, so far off the rails that we experienced a catastrophic war. But I am kind of glad to see the New York Times at least asking the question. I mean, when we have a regional war like the war with Iran that is involving, most of the regional powers in the Middle East, it's involving us. And then you have the Russia-Ukraine conflict where we have been supporting the Ukrainians. NATO has been supporting the Ukrainians. And that war is continuing to escalate. And now we're seeing a blending of the two fronts. For quite some time, the Iranians have been supporting the Russians with drones and with some other military assistance. And then recently we saw the Ukrainians take a strike in the Caspian Sea against an Iranian vessel. And so I fear that these two fronts could become blended. And as one escalates, the other one escalates as well. I fear that if we see some kind of escalation because of President Trump's frustration with the status of the Straits of Hormuz and our inability to get a clear victory with Iran, that Israel escalates and uses some form of a nuclear weapon, which would essentially then greenlight Putin using a nuclear weapon in Ukraine, which would then be right on the doorstep of Europe. And then after that, kind of all bets are off. So I think we're in a very dicey situation right now. We just had the CIA director fly over to Moscow. Who knows what they precisely discussed, but I think it's pretty obvious we are trying to get the Russians not to escalate any further. However, I don't know why the Russians would take us seriously, because we've made no effort whatsoever to restrain the Ukrainians. The Russians know that we're kind of spread thin right now. So, I mean, I think we're teetering on the verge of this thing getting to the point where it can't be put back in the box. So I think we've...
You're damn right. It ain't gonna be stopped one chance. There ain't no chance to stop. This Bible prophecy, bitch. Ain't no stopping this like Bad Boys.
Got a limited amount of opportunity right now to stop this war from spiraling even further.
Wow.
And yet, the war continues to have a low record of support. And so we continuously see these stories from mainstream media. Last week it was Iran hacked a British power plant. This week it's China hacked the Federal Reserve. We don't have any proof of that. It's just escalating rhetoric that these are our enemies. And so I don't know why they're still doing this, because it doesn't work. What do you make of these continuously unsourced stories of fear-mongering?
I think because the American people are weary of wars, which is ironically a big reason why President Trump won the election. Both in all the times that President Trump has won the presidency, he has run heavily on reputing American foreign policy, in particular in the Middle East. So the American people are sick of these wars. That's obvious. All the polling says that. However, the Uniparty in Washington D.C., they want this war. This is why you're not seeing any Democrats really come out in a meaningful way right now and attack President Trump. They're using it as some red meat here and there, and they'll say some stuff in some hearings every now and again to the Secretary of War, the Secretary of State. But there's no real Democrat opposition to this war. This is Washington, D.C.'s consensus. They want this war. Now, they know that if this war continues to expand, the American people are going to be hurt more economically than they already have been. The price of the pump, cost of living, inflation, etc. But if this war does accelerate and the two wars combine, which if you listen to the neocons in Washington, D.C., backed by the Israel lobby and all the Atlanticists and, big...
All right, I'm going to stop right there. I ain't playing all this shit. But you see the title right there. I don't know what they're going to get into talking about. I ain't even going to play it on my free time. I just want to play it so you can listen to the ridiculous shit that this title says. If they really get into that, but there's no stopping this war. Fuck no. It's Bible prophecy, bitch. You can't stop Bible prophecy. Can't stop, won't stop. Let's get to the next one. This one, what was it about? Some CIA chief nigga went out to Russia. Probably kissed the ring or something. I don't know. Please don't nuke us, Putin. I guess. I don't know. I don't think about that. I think it's something else involved. Like it probably something to do with maybe something to do with Yahweh Shema Shah seeing angels and such. They freaking out or something. I don't know.
Extremely lightweight, cost effective, and far more.
The American Edomites got to pay a visit with the Russian Edomites and politic with one another about what the hell they're gonna do about the outside threat. I don't know.
User-friendly than drywall. In fact, it's so fast.
All right, this morning we're also learning new details about what was supposed to be a secret trip to Moscow by CIA Director John Ratcliffe. CBS News was the first to report the visit yesterday after flight trackers spotted an American military plane over the city. Sources tell CBS News the CIA director was there for meetings but did not specify who he was meeting with. CBS News has also learned that the U.S. asked
These guys tracking planes.
Ukrainian officials to suspend their attacks on Moscow while Ratcliffe is there. Let's bring in CBS News intelligence and national security reporter Olivia Gazis. Olivia, always great to see you. So what do we know about these meetings, and has the Kremlin even acknowledged them?
The Kremlin, yes. The spokesperson Dmitry Peskov acknowledged that Ratcliffe met with his Russian intelligence counterparts, but not with President Putin, who was briefed on those meetings afterwards. And we also just heard this morning from President Trump, who said in that interview that we just mentioned that it was a semi-routine visit, which is something to ponder because that is really not routine. Because both sides have kept details about the purpose and the substance of these meetings very secret, which would be normal. What was not normal for a CIA director's travel was how visible this was. The CIA has very discreet ways of getting the director into and out of foreign countries. His travel is usually classified. In this case, like you said, flight trackers picked up the military aircraft he took into the country. There were videos of the diplomatic convoy that he's believed to have taken around Moscow. Not the standard means of getting around for the CIA director.
I mean, I don't know if it has something to do with World War III. It might be something to do with an outside threat from the planet or something. Something out of this world type of shit. And they freaking, these niggas are freaked out. They freaked out so hard they got to go to Russia. And Russia, the main niggas that gonna nuke the shit out of America. I don't know.
Itself may be part of the message, this overt use of the usually very secretive intelligence channel that is usually reserved for the most sensitive national security issues, a number of which obviously exist and are intensifying between the U.S. and Russia right now.
Right. There's probably a reason why we know about this, and this was so visible, like you said. What would be the kinds of negotiations that the director of the CIA would have to have in person rather than sending an ambassador or a political envoy?
Right, why couldn't it just have been a phone call, right? The intelligence channel between the U.S. and Russia has been robust historically, right? Because there have been so many highly sensitive issues that the two countries have had to navigate, usually quietly in, moments of complexity in their past. You can think of, the foggy prisoner swaps across the bridge, security warnings, back channel messages. The last time that we know...
Anyway, that's shit going on. I ain't gonna hear no more because you don't really know what the hell going on anyway. Because U.S. on nuke alert. 5. Doomsday jet takes the sky. That was 10 hours ago. Man, I ain't gonna play that shit. I was thinking about it.
What if I tell you you can generate...
I'm like, get your ass out here. I don't want to hear you. Get the fuck out of here.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Happy Monday.
No offense to any brothers that sound like that. Sound like Hajim or something. Got Speckled Bird, Israelites that gonna sound like that. But they gonna sound like that with some flavor of salt.
Hey, hope everybody out there is having a great day so far. In just a second, we have some catastrophic Iran war updates. So apparently, 15 U.S. military bases are completely cooked. They're done. They're destroyed. And they've been trying to keep this information from us and lying about how, we have Iran on the ropes. We're destroying them. They're actually close to giving up. Meanwhile, 15 of our bases are donezo.
Yeah, this nigga keep throwing 3-6s up like crazy.
So we'll talk about that. We also have Trump panics as he delivers a rally speech and somebody in the crowd calls him a pedophile. It is all coming unglued. I mean, this is now like a regular occurrence when he actually goes in front of real people. Somebody's going to call him a pedophile. Why? Because he's in the Epstein files over 1 million times, and people know that. So we'll talk about that as well. We also have Canada erupting in fury at Trump over his stupid trade war, which he rekindled for no fucking reason. And that has now backfired spectacularly. So I'll give you all the details on that. And then we also have Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, is secretly not a step where, inverted to the max. Obviously, everything he's saying about, Iran and countries that work with them is true of us now. We've made everybody hate us. And he thinks he's in a position to, throw around the weight of the U.S. and try to coerce people. It's not going to work anymore. Sorry, bro. It's no longer 1996. People are going to tell us to kick rocks. They continue. Iran already warned all Gulf countries not to join the U.S. in the economic war, and any country that takes part in imposing economic restrictions on Iran will be regarded as an enemy. Gulf states will have an impossible choice to make. This is insane that I'm about to utter these words, but I'm going to utter these words. I actually kind of feel bad for them. Yes, they're dictators. Yes, they're horrible. Yes, they're incredibly repressive. But they are in a completely cooked situation, right? They are tied in financially with the U.S. and the West in every imaginable way. But if they choose to continue down that path, they're basically signing a death warrant where Iran says, you're done. We're going to destroy all of your oil infrastructure, your gas infrastructure, your entire economy. Nobody's going to want to go there. It's like, the playground for the top 1%, some of these countries. They're going to destroy that, so the real estate market is going to be barbecue chicken. They're going to have no way of functioning as governments if they double down on the relationship with the West. And then, of course, we've abandoned them. We've made them targets. We know that they've felt the brunt of this war. We don't care. You know, we go out there and we berate them a little bit. Again, what we're witnessing and what we're living through is the rapid collapse of an empire. I mean, it is not slow. It is fast relative to all these other empires throughout history, and we're about to learn the hard way that that's the case. Okay, so Besant issuing threats to anybody and everybody. I'm sure that's going to go really well. Let me continue here. Breaking. Iran warns it, quote, will respond with an earthquake-like retaliation in response to Trump's economic warfare, directly warning all Gulf countries not to join the economic war and saying Iran will strike all U.S.-backed Gulf energy infrastructure and Hormuz bypass oil routes, including Yanbu and Fujairah. Iran's SNSC chief Rezai told IRIB. Iran adds, quote, if neighboring countries of Iran join the economic war with the Americans, not a single drop of oil will leave the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, and we will also target other routes through which oil is exported from the Persian Gulf. Iran says it has so far only targeted military bases and has not attacked any U.S. economic interests. But, quote, if they choose to escalate to an economic war, we are prepared to target all American oil and economic companies in the region. And ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of American companies in the region. And there are a lot of potential workarounds that have been used to get oil out of the Middle East. And Iran saying, we know about them, and if you escalate, we're going to tit for tat in this bitch, and we're going to...
I hope they do escalate.
...make you pay a pound of flesh. So, again, this is getting really, really serious, really, really fast. How about this one? Breaking. Iran's IRGC has successfully shut down a UK power plant for 4 days in an unprecedented cyber attack, believed to be the first time Iranian-affiliated hackers have successfully shut down a UK facility of this kind, according to The Telegraph. The UK warns businesses should be prepared to protect themselves against cyber attacks without needing the option of paying ransoms, because the UK could be targeted at scale if it were to become involved in an international conflict like Iran. So this thing is spiraling out of control, y'all. It is spiraling out of control. Everybody knows it's spiraling out of control. We're led by the dumbest motherfuckers alive, and I don't know if there's any hope of getting the genie back in the bottle. But now we have UK power plants that have been shut down for 4 days because of Iranian cyber attacks. That's incredible stuff. All right, here we go. How about this one? This one is insane. Navy families evacuated from Bahrain face uncharted territory amid bureaucratic confusion. One active duty Navy spouse said the family fell into a gap in the military's evacuation policies and has paid nearly $40,000 out of pocket. This is what happens when the U.S. government is panicking. This is what happens when they don't know what they're doing. This is what happens when it's hell on earth and it's chaotic and it's mayhem. Just like what we've seen with the USS Lincoln and with these other ships. There was a U.S. ship that was out of power sitting in the South China Sea in 100-degree weather for 4 straight days, okay? You know the story of the USS Lincoln. I mean, people aboard that ship, they were on the brink of mutiny. You got 6 people jumping overboard. And now we know the situation is no better on land. It is no better on land. Imagine paying $40,000 out of pocket because your government failed at doing the most basic shit. All right, more. This is probably the biggest one of the day, y'all. Dropsite News says, MS Now security analyst says U.S. has likely permanently lost access to at least 15 of its Persian Gulf bases. Permanently lost access to 15 of our Middle East bases. Oh my days. They have been hiding this from us every single step of the way, as we told you they would. They're hiding the wounded, they're hiding the dead, and they're hiding just how severely we've been obliterated in this war by a country that's significantly less powerful on paper than we are. They say, in my judgment, the U.S. armed forces have probably permanently lost access to 15 Persian Gulf bases. Iran now poised to control access to the Gulf states. U.S. will have to negotiate new access in Western Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Southern Europe. Oh my days. Compare and contrast this with the rhetoric coming...
I'm going to stop right there because I think he's going to get into some other topic. But yeah, man, it ain't looking good for the hammer of the earth. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. How is the hammer of the earth... Hold on, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon, America, become a desolation among the nations? I have led a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, America, and thou hast not aware. Thou art found, and also when you sit your ass down, nigga, before I knock your ass out. Damn, you always got to be white. Damn it, dog. Sit your butt down. Because thou hast strived against the Lord Yahweh. Striven against the Lord Yahweh, not strive. But yeah, man. The Lord is showing these niggas are weak. And they've always been weak. America always been weak. What the hell was that? It's like something ringing a bell. Like a big bell gonna ring. Anyway, next video.
Hey, did you know you could welcome to...
Oh my goodness, can we get the video going?
Iran has delivered a chilling warning to its Gulf neighbors. It said that any country that joins Donald Trump's planned economic offensive against Tehran, it could face retaliation like an earthquake. Now, the threat came after Washington promised an unprecedented campaign of economic warfare and isolation against Tehran. Mohsen Rezai, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, he issued the warning in a televised address urging neighbor countries to stay away from the U.S. campaign. He said that any country that participated in economic restrictions against Iran, it would be termed as an enemy. Listen to this.
If he, Trump, decides to take further action, our response, our retaliation will be seismic. First, we will tell all neighboring countries and countries around the world not to join the United States in its economic war. Any country that takes part in imposing economic restrictions on us will be regarded as an enemy.
Well, all this comes against the backdrop of Washington preparing secondary sanctions on foreign banks, companies and governments that continue to do business with Tehran. The strategy is straightforward: force Iran's trading partners to choose between access to the US economy and continued ties with Iran. US believes that this pressure could achieve what military operations have failed to deliver, which is compelling Tehran to compromise without launching a broader campaign of strikes. But Iran's hardline leadership appears determined to resist Washington's pressure campaign. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi mocked Trump's new economic D-Day strategy by sharing a 2012 Obama post where he was quoting Joe Biden on the most crippling sanctions. Take a look.
This is a repetitive scenario, from the crippling sanctions imposed during the Obama administration to the maximum pressure campaign during Mr. Trump's first administration, and now to the latest sanctions. All of these measures have been introduced under different titles, but they represent the same kind of bullying that we have always seen in American policy.
But behind Tehran's defiance lies a deepening economic crisis. Years of sanctions, a disruption caused by war, declining oil revenues and restricted access to global financial markets, they've all left the Iranian economy under enormous strain. The UAE's decision to suspend trade with Iran had added a new and dangerous dimension to the standoff. Abu Dhabi has been one of Tehran's most important commercial links, and the halt in trade threatens to deepen Iran's isolation. Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has defended the Memorandum of Understanding. He called it the best available arrangement to pull Iran out of what he described as a state of neither war nor peace.
If we signed that memorandum, it was because we believe a war cannot go on indefinitely. At some point, we ultimately have to make a decision to save the country from the state of neither war nor peace.
Amid the threats and counter-threats, the bigger question now is Iran's economic survival. Iran cannot attract investment or rebuild its battered economy while the threat of renewed conflict...
Anyway, all these economies, all these countries going through some fine. And that's the purpose. They want to... all these countries go through financial issues so they can crash all this shit and bring in that chip implant. Anyway, make everything digital currency and all that stuff, and then bring the chip implant. Next video. So many power station videos. I guess they're letting you people know something. I mean, I looked at some, you know, it was on Amazon too. I looked on Amazon, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these ads to YouTube. But I guess everything is tied together. But anyway.
Let's move on now. A U.S. Navy sailor serving on a record-breaking combat deployment in West Asia faces an unexpected battle back home. His father has been taken into federal immigration detention as strict enforcement rules spare no one, not even the families of active duty troops. The arrest comes as the warship itself withdraws from combat amid severe crew exhaustion and official denials from Washington.
The USS Abraham Lincoln spent more than 200 consecutive days without a port call, setting a modern-day record as the carrier remained deployed during the Iran war. This comes at a time when the US military has taken massive hits as it fights Iran. The American bases have been targeted.
I mean, that's a damn shame. Boy, they are getting their asses handed to them. And what? And they can't even beat Iran. Of course, they're getting aid by, was it Russia? And Man, all these countries gonna get some aid. They got buddies. But damn, they can't beat Iran. So what makes any simple ass motherfucker that believe that America could beat China or Russia, you are out of your fucking mind. This is a damn shame. They can't even beat little Iran. Damn. And then they got to resort to lying about what the fuck they doing. And that's all nothing but Edomite shit. Esau on that his punk ass shit, lying on other people. God damn. Anyway, back to the video. I just feel like saying that.
The U.S. has suffered heavy combat losses. 750 U.S. soldiers are injured, while 18 others lost their lives in the line of duty.
More than that.
The grueling war has forced the world's mightiest military to be stretched.
Yep, stretched, thin, like Rome. Even Egypt. Egypt was their military was stretched thin. But Rome most likely, because this is really this is more Rome, got the spirit of Rome in America. And yeah.
Nuclear-powered USS Abraham Lincoln was deployed in the Persian Gulf for 274 days. This extraordinary deployment came with a growing list of concerns. Families of sailors raised alarms about conditions aboard the carrier, including reports of supply shortages and the mental strain of such a prolonged deployment. U.S. lawmakers demanded answers. The Pentagon pushed back. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth rejected reports of deteriorating conditions, saying accounts of problems aboard the Lincoln had been completely misrepresented. Pentagon also praised the crew for its performance under extreme operational pressure. The USS George Washington has now arrived in the region to take over from the Lincoln after its extended
How long they gonna stay out?
deployment. The exhausted Lincoln's crew is finally heading towards a break from the relentless war. And for one sailor, the next battle is at home. Joshua Avils, serving aboard the Abraham Lincoln, learned that his father, Luis Manuel Avils Roa, had been detained by U.S. Border Patrol in Key West, Florida. The Nicaraguan immigrant is being held by immigration authorities while removal proceedings continue.
Damn, he's serving the country. His daddy got snatched up and locked up in prison. Oh, not in prison. Might as well, it's a concentration camp. And he's serving his country. That's why Jada shows you this is not your rest. They don't give a fuck about you or your family. Seek Yahweh Shema Shah, man. Slaki. Not no Jesus Christos. And fuck America. Fuck the military. Get the fuck out of it before your ass get killed by the Lord when he returns. Or either get killed before he returns.
According to reports, Avils Roa
What the fuck is this? Really? What the fuck is this? What is this? A Nicaragua flag? Is it? I don't know. I don't know all these damn nations' flags. Why is it there?
had a driver's license, social security card, and work permit. His family was also waiting for a decision on his green card application. But under the Trump administration's tightened immigration approach, having a family member serving in the U.S. military does not automatically protect a relative from immigration enforcement. The Trump administration has dramatically expanded immigration enforcement. ICE operations have
Damn, what a nigger. What a fucking nigger devil.
intensified across the country.
Clearly shows you this is not your rest.
While protections that previously gave some military families greater security have become more limited for families of deployed troops, that creates a new tension.
This time they decided to, your wife is being deported, you don't even have to wait for her here. And I'm like, I'm confused. We got all this paperwork being done and we're doing the right thing. We've been coming into your appointments and just trying to do the right thing. Why?
It's just not enough for Esau. Hey man, this devil is getting you tries, bro. It's actually the Lord getting at y'all.
Why are you doing this? Why are you breaking this family apart and making us go through all these emotional roller coasters?
My mom was able to get her permanent residency, and it did take quite a few years, but we were able to work through it, and she was able to get that status. My father's case has been a little more complicated. There's been a few roadblocks here or there where we had to pretty much go back and start from like ground zero. So that's why it's taken so much longer for my father.
A sailor can be thousands of miles away, serving on a carrier in a war zone,
while your family member gets snatched up and thrown in prison and drinking water. While they in prison, they drinking water that's got worms in it and eating fucking food that's Not worth eating. Not even a damn pig will want to eat that food they serving. Anyway.
An immigration case involving a parent unfolds back home. And the Abraham Lincoln's own experience makes the timing striking. The carrier has been pushed through a record deployment while families questioned whether the crew was receiving everything it needed. Now the super carrier is being relieved, but the questions remain. How much strain can America's military crews absorb? And how much pressure can their families carry while the U.S. expands both its military commitments abroad and immigration enforcement at home? Bureau Report, we are...
Yeah, it's fucked up. Oh well. Let me throw this in here. See what else we got. See what this is about.
Smaller keyboards are taking over, but I still can't give up my 100% layout. Especially
a massive shift might be unfolding in West Asia, given what's surfaced, both about what's happened on the ground and what's happening behind the scenes. Let's first tell you what a new report says. According to the report by NBC News, Iranian attacks have caused unprecedented damage to U.S. intelligence facilities and surveillance equipment across the region. The missile and drone strikes reportedly damaged buildings and intelligence gathering equipment used by the CIA and other U.S. spy agencies. Basically, according to the report, the scale of destruction waged on the U.S. intelligence agencies is greater than any damage previously sustained. In fact, the damage is expected to require billions of dollars to repair or replace. Will the US also shift its footprint away from Iranian range is what's being asked, and can it do that? In fact, according to an Axios report now, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has told several allied foreign ministers that Washington does not expect to launch new strikes against Iran for the time being. So with that backdrop, let's just look at the kind of questions that have been doing the rounds. Are these developments also what led to this shift in strategy by the United States, shifting to economic warfare instead of military escalation? In fact, Washington is offering a potential trade-off. It seems sanctions, maritime pressure could be eased if Tehran agrees to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and halt the attacks by Iran-aligned groups, reportedly. The message was reportedly carried to Tehran by Pakistan's army chief during his visit to Iran. In fact, the United States is starting to return diplomatic staff to West Asia missions that were evacuated or downsized during the war. Staff are being sent back to posts including Israel, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, although some missions will operate below full strength. That's the other crucial aspect. Washington says the move reflects a fresh assessment that the immediate risk of escalation has fallen. The US is also treading carefully around China. Remember, the Trump administration is targeting Iran's oil network, including entities linked to China, but so far has avoided a broader assault on major Chinese financial institutions. That caution comes as Trump prepares for that delicate relationship with Xi Jinping. And the way things stand, even as Trump confronts Iran, he is again praising his relationship with the North Korean leader. Trump has called for a substantial reduction in US-South Korea military exercises earlier, remember, saying they send an inappropriate and hostile signal to Pyongyang. But the pressure on Trump has been mounting, with his approval ratings taking a hit, voters increasingly worried about the economic cost of the war, particularly the higher energy prices. With the midterms approaching, time is running out for Trump. So is the patience of the Americans, it seems. Meanwhile, Iran's Revolutionary Guards have said Iran and Oman have reached an agreement on their share of the Strait of Hormuz, and its revenues. But the vital waterway will not be reopened if America does not accept their conditions, reportedly. Remember, Iran and Oman have held on and off talks for weeks about controlling traffic through that waterway. Most shipping has since been shut down, driving global energy prices higher, as Iran and America have tried to assert control over that waterway, imposing separate blockades. In fact, the IRGC accused the United States of seeking to obstruct the negotiations between Iran and Oman and said this had caused the agreement to be delayed. Though active hostilities between the US and Iran have largely subsided in recent weeks, diplomatic efforts to reach that peace deal have in a way stalled, and continuing attacks on ships mean passage through the Strait of Hormuz has remained affected.
Has anyone actually made it to level 4 before? If you're slightly congested, use level 1.
Our dear colleagues at the Ministry of Defense have demonstrated a very important job here. When one enters this place, one sees nothing but hard work and effort, and alongside that, a passion for progress. With the dedication of the ministry staff and senior managers, they have been able to produce equipment that is much better than in the past, which possesses both superior capabilities and high quality. Furthermore, they have been able to bring it to the production stage in much greater quantities than before.
Let's get to the next one.
After smashing US bases, Iran's missiles are now having Europe on its radar. NATO is also on alert. Iranian military officials have previously warned that any military base used to launch attacks against Iranian territory, it could be considered a target. Now NATO says it is prepared for any threat over possible Iranian strikes on US military targets in Europe. Take a look at this next report for more details.
From Berlin to Paris and from Bulgaria to Cyprus, Europe is now watching Iran's missile threat with growing concern. After targeting US military positions across West Asia, Tehran is reportedly considering whether to take its retaliation beyond West Asia. Reports say Iran has examined possible strikes against US military assets in southeastern Europe, including targets in Bulgaria and Cyprus, if Washington escalates its military campaign against Iran, and that has put NATO on notice. The alliance says it is prepared to address any threat and will do what is necessary to defend its members. NATO also pointed to 4 occasions this year when its air defenses intercepted ballistic missiles heading towards Turkey from Iran. Iran poses a range of powerful missiles. One of the most widely used missiles is Sejil, also called the dancing missile, which can change its trajectory mid-path to confuse and invade the interceptors. Yet the Sejil represents merely one arrow in Iran's expanding quiver. In its retaliatory attacks against Israel and the US, Iran...
You say expanding quiver?
In Iran's expanding quiver.
Yep, expanding quiver. The arrows. That's spiritual. They call it a quiver. Yeah. And then we put your arrows in. Store your arrows, pull one out.
In its retaliatory attacks against Israel and the US, Iran has developed a wide range of ballistic missiles with different capabilities. Some of its missiles are designed for long-range strikes with reported ranges stretching thousands of kilometers, allowing them to reach targets across the Gulf and beyond. The concern is not just about where Iran could strike, but how far its missiles can reach. In March, Iran reportedly launched 2 ballistic missiles with a reported range of around 4,000 kilometers towards the US-UK base at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, marking a significant demonstration of its long-range missile capability. Iranian officials have also repeatedly warned that foreign bases used to launch attacks against Iran could themselves become targets. That warning has already been felt in Europe. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi recently urged Bulgaria and Cyprus to reconsider allowing their territories to be used for US military operations. So the question now is whether the Iran war remains confined to West Asia or whether its missiles could open a new front on European soil.
Yep. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. The old way of fighting The ancient way of fighting was hand to hand, feet to feet, punching and kicking, and then sword slinging with shields and arrows and bows and counterpults and all that other shit. Now it's with missiles, grenades, bullets and guns shooting out bullets, nukes, and from gravity bombs, or even missile warhead or warheads attached to missiles or rockets, whatever. Anyway, that's the modern day, and that's what I'm speaking of. Oh no, that's what I'm about to speak of now. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Yep. And what else? Let me get another one too. I forgot about the other one. Here you go. Joel chapter 3 verse 9. Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat their plowshares into swords, and their pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. That'd be Iran, Russia, and here goes China. What is China talking about? Japan has petroleum, and 5,500 nukes. Japan nuclear potential is spotlight. Anyway. This is just, I thought it was talking about China got nuclear warheads that many.
So this Japan does not.
Well, Japan got Japan has petroleum for that many warheads. They got enough petroleum to make that many warheads. Yeah.
Not have a nuclear bomb, but it has something that is now drawing intense attention from China. That is a huge stockpile of plutonium. Beijing says that material could theoretically support thousands of nuclear warheads, and as Donald Trump reshapes America's strategy, pushing traditional allies like South Korea away, fears are growing that Japan could face pressure to rethink the nuclear question. More in this report.
The world stands on the edge of a new nuclear danger. Decades of fragile deterrence are unraveling at breakneck speed. Power vacuums, shifting alliances, and sudden strategic pivots are pushing rival nations to reconsider their ultimate defense options. A country shaped by nuclear tragedy, a policy built on restraint, a program built for energy, not war. For decades, Japan has held that line, but now a fresh claim from China is pushing a different narrative. China has now put Japan's plutonium stockpile at the center of the debate. Chinese ambassador to Russia, Zhang Hanhui, claims Japan possesses enough plutonium to make about 5,500 nuclear warheads. The Chinese claim focuses on Japanese capability, not intent, but even that is enough to stir strategic concern. But there is an important distinction. Plutonium is not itself a nuclear bomb. It's a radioactive material produced during nuclear reactions. Now, certain forms of plutonium can be used as fuel in reactors, while plutonium-239 can also be used in nuclear weapons if a country chooses to develop the necessary weapons program. Japan's nuclear infrastructure is vast. Before the Fukushima disaster, it operated over 50 reactors. Today, around 33 reactors remain operable, with 15 restarted and more in the pipeline. Tokyo has been clear and consistent. It does not possess, produce, or allow nuclear weapons. Its plutonium is declared, tracked, and monitored under international.
You know, they gonna give that petroleum to America and UK or whatever.
National safeguards, particularly by the IAEA. Japan is the only country ever to have suffered nuclear attacks at Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Its government continues to uphold those three non-nuclear principles. Japan will not possess, manufacture, or permit the introduction of nuclear.
You know them niggas lying. They got that shit. They got some nukes, and they got some for America. They got some for America. Believe me, they got some for America. And they probably named them after the ones that hit them. Fat Boy and Little Boy or something shit like that. Or they gonna name after cities that got hit. Yakasaki, Hukusuki. That's the Yakasaki bomb and that's the Hukisuki bomb or whatever the fuck. Anyway, just, you know, just call them that. It's like a way of payback, or, you know.
Nuclear weapons into its territory.
I'm pretty sure them niggas got some nukes though. And they bullshit, they lying.
The Chinese claim hinting at Japan's nuclear intention is without any solid reason. Yet the timing of the claim comes at a time when wars are raging in Russia, Ukraine and West Asia. Amid this, America's security strategy is changing. It is moving away from its traditional allies in Europe and Asia. Trump has ordered a substantial reduction in US-South Korea military exercises, arguing that large drills are costly and unnecessarily provocative towards North Korea. He has also stressed his relationship with Kim Jong-un and wants to revive diplomacy with Pyongyang.
And I know Kim Jong-un very well.
Oh, nigga, shut up. I know him very well. Shit. Yeah, I'll be down molesting little kids. Yup. Anyway, doing all kind of wicked shit. But anyway, Isaiah chapter 54 verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals and the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. And they have the material to make the, the waster, but they don't want to use it. But I know damn well they full of shit. Talking about Ammon. They got petroleum, and what are they gonna do with that shit? They just letting China know that we got a lot to make a lot of nukes, a lot of petroleum to make a lot of nukes, but they ain't making them. Whatever. Anyway, I don't think, but I'll probably play this. I might play this for bonus. Matter of fact, I'll play a little bit of this because I've been holding on to this video for a minute. Let's see what it's talking about. World War III, hour by hour in the suburbs. And I'm gonna get to that last video by hopefully like 3.
This right here is going to guide your blade at 20 degrees every stroke.
A nuclear missile is heading for your city right now. You have maybe 15 minutes left. So what do? Run? Hide? Call someone? Or would you do what most of us would do? Check your phone, look out your window, and then convince yourself it's probably nothing. That hesitation is exactly what gets them killed. Your brain is wired to ignore impossible threats, even when the countdown has already started. It's called the 7-10 rule. So strap in, grab a notebook, and pay attention. This is how to survive a nuclear blast hour by hour in the suburbs. Chapter 1, 8:07 a.m. One text message. David is not a morning person, which is unfortunate because at 8:07 a.m. on a Tuesday, the world is possibly 15 minutes away from ending. Suddenly his phone buzzes. A piercing alarm fills the room. David grabs his phone. The screen reads, "Presidential alert. Ballistic missile threat inbound. Seek shelter immediately. This is not a drill." David reads it once and then again. It's gotta be some sort of scam or hoax. The message on his phone is already old news. The FEMA Wireless Emergency Alert System, or WEA, the same one that messages...
I don't think you'll get a warning like this. It'll just come like a thief in the night. Yeah. The Lord gonna come like a thief in the night with them damn warheads being delivered by those missiles, those intercontinental missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. So you might not even get a warning.
You about flash.
The government might say, "Fuck y'all, we ain't warning you a shit." Shit, cause them niggas ain't gonna tell you they in the bunkers already.
Floods and Amber Alerts.
They been in the bunker a day ago.
Bypasses.
Or maybe a week.
Standard cellular traffic to deliver warnings. It is completely immune to peak network congestion. And that's 12 minutes in which cell towers across 3 states are simultaneously blanketing the area with the same emergency broadcast. The result? Millions of phones erupt in alarms at the exact same moment. And incoming missiles don't wait for the network to clear. By the time David's phone buzzed, the warhead was already halfway to its target, traveling at approximately 15 times the speed of sound. David has, at best, 15 minutes. He's currently on minute 2. Next door, his neighbor Gary is already
And I
ahead.
wasn't expecting this video to talk about it. This is my first time watching all these videos. And how old is this video? 3 weeks old. I never seen it. I mean, I had held on to it for about a week. I never got to chance to even... I don't even never play and watch these videos. But what the fuck is this? This is new from it was GMS South Carolina 08. And you see the purple people eaters. Or whatever the fuck you call it, the IUIC. Calling attention to violence and hangings. Oh my goodness, bruh. Anyway, these niggas need to stop. They don't understand. This is judgment from the Lord.
Ahead of him.
And I'm pretty sure bruh gonna mention it.
Or so Gary believes. Gary Kowalski...
I'll be like, shit, if these niggas worry so much about the hangings, what are y'all gonna do about it? Nothing. I mean, the best thing you do is repent and seek the Lord. Yahweh Shem Shah.
33 has been preparing for this exact same moment for the better part of a decade. He has a bug-out bag for every member of his family, color-coded by priority, naturally. He has a hand crank radio, 3 backup generators, freeze-dried meals, and a laminated emergency protocol binder. Gary sees the alert and he's already in motion. He has preloaded his truck with 72 hours of emergency support.
Gary, daggone, he a prudent man. He see the evil. So he gonna hide himself in an RV. And a Winnebago. No, this is an RV, not a Winnebago. Shit, you know, hide yourself by having a lure hide you from all the danger.
Supplies, a tactical flashlight.
What is this gonna do? Wait, hold on, wait a minute. This is a nuclear. Where he gonna drive to when the bombs are coming? I'm missing something. I must have lost track of what's going on because I was distracted talking about the purple people eaters. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm like, what the hell you gonna do with this RV when the nukes are coming? All everywhere. They're not gonna be like you can just leave the city, and then he leaving, but then the traffic's gonna be jam packed and jammed. Everybody gonna rush in their car and get the fuck on out of Dodge. I don't know if it's happening now, but there ain't no telling. But then America's gonna get utterly destroyed with your shitty RV. This bitch gonna be destroyed city to city, county to county, neighborhood to neighborhood, state to state. I'm out of order. I meant to say state to state, city to city. No, state to state. Counties are bigger than cities, but county to county, city to city. No, county city's bigger than county. I don't know. All I can tell you, man, this bitch gonna be destroyed, nigga, and the whole nation gonna be destroyed. Even the wooded area, the suburbs. So they talking about the suburbs. Suburbs. Of course, they gonna be trash and thrash with nuclear destruction, but the suburban area, I mean the rural area is gonna be trash and thrash. Everywhere gonna be, everywhere from the cities to the swamp. It gonna be, America gonna be destroyed.
And a CB radio, he spent a decade preparing for the day everything falls
apart. It's gonna be so bad that it's gonna cause the earth to shake like a drunkard. It's gonna fucking shake and wobble, twerk, whatever. It's gonna the earth is gonna shake because of the destruction that's coming to America with all that nuclear destruction.
The problem is Gary prepared for survival after the collapse, not survival during the first 48 hours. He backs out of his driveway at 8:08 a.m. and he guns it. Meanwhile, David is still on his phone. This is one of the most well-documented psychological phenomena in emergency management research, and it has a name: milling. In the immediate aftermath of a disaster warning, the majority of people don't act. Instead, they gather information, they seek confirmation, and they probably call someone for social proof that the threat is real. In 2018, a real inbound ballistic missile alert was sent to every phone in Hawaii.
I remember that. They were jumping into manholes, boy. Shit. They didn't know what to do, bro. They were losing their damn mind. I know that was the brothers in the truth. They were like, and it can't be that time. You know, it can't be that time, but of course Esau up to his mischief, but it can't be that time because the chip implants, you know what I'm saying? The chip implants ain't implemented.
Researchers at the University of Georgia.
But hey, you be like, hey, man, you never damn know though. But no, you can't skip prophecy.
Studied how people actually responded. Some responded with sheer panic, texting loved ones their last goodbyes, inconsolable emotions, deathbed apologies. But most of the people
deathbed confessions too. Said some shit. They like, man, I killed somebody. I was doing this and that, and I like shit.
Awful. Trying to determine
the killed a black man, and I accused the black man of rape, and there's some deathbed confessions.
Truth of the message before acting. 45% of respondents to a survey of how they responded to the message said that they were unsure about its credibility. Another 27% disbelieved it outright. Some finished their breakfasts. Others just ignored the message.
Okay, can we get to the fucking bombs, bruh?
One man, the study noted, went back to sleep.
Yeah, of course, Jake in the middle he's playing video game. They're probably Maria and her son Pedro got them eating dinner, and they like, yeah. Esau always sleeping, old sleepy sorry ass. But over here, you got Jake over here, you got Northern Kingdom over here eating. They're just thinking it's a normal average day, and then Southern Kingdom over here just cheesing, playing video games, playing PlayStation 5, Grand Theft Auto 6. Hell, even the damn cartridges are blue. Hey, he is playing PlayStation 5 then. Not the cartridge, what you think, the cases. Yeah, the cases are blue. So he is playing PlayStation 5. See the case right there is blue, and the stack of them right there is blue. But anyway, he playing Grand Theft Auto 5, 6 on that shitty ass gaming system, and then the nukes come.
Others just ignored the message. One man, the study noted, went back to sleep. The alert was live for 38 minutes before
Don't be that guy right there.
was correct.
This
Don't be any of them folks.
game does not lock you behind chores, stamina traps, paywalls, or forced daily check-ins. It's Galactic Frontier. You crash into alien seas, grab wreck.
It's fucking great. I don't want to see this stupid shit.
Patch the hull and turn scraps into power. Every tap feels like the base wakes up. Then
In that time, with a genuinely terrifying message on every phone in the state, the dominant human response was basically, sure. The time it took most people
That's what a lot of people are like, don't you be like that.
to determine whether the alert was credible or not and to take some sort of action was about 12 to 15 minutes. That is also, in a real launch, generally the margin between life and death. David has already burned 3 of them. He looks at his phone, then at his kids. His eyes drift back to the kitchen junk drawer. Buried beneath takeout menus and a handful of dead batteries is a laminated card with 6 bullet points. He made it 2 years ago after falling down a Reddit rabbit hole at 2 a.m. The first line reads, "Do not evacuate. Go below grade immediately." The clock is still ticking. There are 12 minutes left. Chapter 2, 8:08 to 8:20 a.m. The most important 12 minutes of David's life. When something terrible happens,
I ain't gonna play no more of this. Shit. But anyway, like I said earlier, man, the Lord gonna come like a thief in the night. You don't want to get caught up in sleeping, playing PlayStation 5, Grand Theft Auto, or maybe Control Resident. You get caught up playing that, and then all of a sudden you ain't paying no attention. Or then you eat at the dinner just thinking it's just a fluke. They glitching, the system glitching. They sending everybody these alert calls of nuclear destruction coming. They're just like calling it bullshit. Anyway, you never damn know. It might be bullshit, but guess what? You still want to pray like heaven and the Lord have mercy on you. First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord Yahweh Shemashah shall come as a thief in the night. They won't see it coming. And matter of fact, if it was an alert, yeah, they probably like, oh well, shit. They might not get said. They might not even get an alert. But now they gonna get something. They gonna know something is coming, so they gonna be running like a chicken with their head cut off. Shit. But a lot of them folks in that video ain't doing that. Now I know I ain't even gonna let the video play to see what else gonna happen, but they just like, oh well, it's just another day. This is probably a lie. Probably another trick from Esau. Well anyway, for when there shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them, and travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Oh, look what the thumbnail say on here. The thumbnail on here says no escape from World War III, the nuclear destruction, from judgment from Yahweh Shemashah, no escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, like these people that they just eating, dining at home, and think it's just another casual day of the family eating at the table, and nigga just sleeping, catching Z's, don't give a shit, and bruh playing PlayStation 5, Grand Theft Auto 6, and they like, I ain't studying them damn nukes. I fuck them nukes. Don't be like that. Don't be in that. That's darkness right there. That day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Nope. Being in darkness, your ass die. You get killed, put to death. Let's get this last one. What a volume so low. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And what won't tarry? Bible prophecies like World War III. the chip implants, and the salvation of our Lord Yahweh Shah coming to pick up his people, and the nuclear destruction. Did I say the mark of the beast? Well, anyway, the nuclear destruction after the Lord comes and gather up his elect. And they all ain't gonna tarry, they ain't gonna delay. No, they gonna come right on the time that the Lord wanted to be. That the Lord got set up, Yahweh got set up.
Isn't it weird how every kind of strange, crazy thing that you thought could never happen is actually happening right now? In just about every aspect of life. Every single one. From fires, floods, earthquakes, daily. Yeah, happening daily. To UFOs being seen in the sky. To the point where if you mention you saw one, happens every day. And then you get into the more day-to-day human aspect, like the economy, the prices of groceries, where people are barely surviving. Yeah, barely surviving. Along with social media itself, where either the worst of the worst get a lot of views and get a lot of screen time and are seen by a lot of people, or really the best of the best. The people in between, not so much. It's almost like everything that was predicted in prophecies long ago is happening right now. And it's getting hard to ignore for anybody. Even people who don't believe in that stuff, they can see it coming too. Look, I'm not saying this is the end of things. Not at all. Not even close.
Well, the prophecy, how about Shemal Shah, are saying it's the end of things. Well, the end of Esau's rulership. End of this gay, faggoty ass, wretched, queerdom ass world. Shit. I'm tired of this shit.
I'm just saying, maybe people who have these problems.
Everything fake as hell, from the food, water, damn near the air is fake. You people are fake. Not all you people. I'm talking about the people that they're scoffing and mocking. That's a piece of shit.
Who saw the future thought, this has to be the end. This has to be. Except it's not. It's just what we're going through right now, with more to come. Not to be gloom and doom, but do you ever feel this way? Because I feel it every single day now. It's like a wave of terrible stuff just keeps coming, and there's no end in sight, and it's to the point where you can only just laugh or hide. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. Maybe I'm putting stuff together that's not together.
No, they all together. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. I thought this video was going to talk about nukes and blowing up, but it's talking about prophecies that was said that's going to happen, and they are happening. And guess what? There's still more prophecies being said is going to happen, and they're going to definitely happen. So best thing you need to do as a Hebrew Israelite, for you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you specklers, like look like the heathen, like look like that guy, the Edomite looking guy right here with a cheese head and shit. Seek the Lord by seeking his prophets and take heed to what to say, and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, repenting Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah, keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust strong in Yahweh Shema Shah, stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith. For the men out there that's not teaching and preaching, but trying to do their best by seeking the Lord and repenting and doing the best you can do, because not all men of Israel are teachers or prophets. But you believers, male believers, keep on believing, keep on being your faith and trust in Yahweh Shema Shah, doing the best you can do. Now for the sisters, keep your faith and trust strong in Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble with your man. If you ain't got a man, stay in order or humble with Yahweh Shema Shah like you're supposed to be. Yeah. And peace and bless to the hopeful elect, and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Shalom.